Hello, everybody. Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon to wherever you hail from this beautiful Tuesday afternoon in January. Welcome to the Personal Development and Training. Today, I have a wonderful friend of mine, Dr. Velvet, to join me today. And we are
Okay, well,
going, let's go ahead and make sure everybody's muted. Excuse me a minute. There we go. Um, so we're going to go over a very wonderful, our title, basically, I'm sorry. I just lost my page here. Transforming relationships. And the title is exactly what it is. How is it that we can transform relationships with others, how we approach others, either within general conversation, but mainly with how we're going to share this beautiful technology to help others with their life. But it comes all the way down to your relationship with self. And with that, I would really like to bring on Dr. Velvet. Dr. Velvet, would you like to say hi to everybody?
hi everyone. I have been looking so forward to bringing this to you, not because it's just the beginning of the year, but because of how it's already starting to transform the way that I'm doing business and the relationships that I'm building, not only with my team, but new.
Are you with the
Sorry about that.
Young Living?
Um, I don't know why she keeps unmuting because she's muted. So that's really weird. Okay. So with that, now how this started, everybody. So Velvet and I are very much connected in many different ways. And I saw a couple posts that she had going on Facebook, and I'm like, and she was posting some pictures of a book that she had been reading. And there's a few of them that basically caught my attention. And I was like, I was trying to show you a picture of it. And I was like, oh, dear Lord, Vel, this is excellent information. It needs to get out there. So, Velvet, first of all, can you tell everybody a little bit about the book, just real quick, and then we'll go into the slideshow and really get that training rolling.
Yes, absolutely. And some of you may already be reading it or may have already read it or know about it. But this is called 10x is easier than 2x. And it's by Dan Sullivan and Benjamin Hardy. You probably recognize the cover here. If you haven't read it, it is an amazing book. And really, what it boils down to is how many of us do a lot of busy work that doesn't really accomplish what we want to do. So he's teaching us to change our mindset of becoming less busy, know what your goal is, and now work from the 20% rather than the 80% that's just keeping us busy. So you become more productive, you become more intentional, and the best part I like, and you're going to hear about it today, is shining your unique abilities.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And I have a funny feeling because when you and I were, kind of previously chatting about it, I was like, oh, there's this conversation could just bridge off in so many different directions. So, guys, we will try it. I will try. Violet's really good. Bella's really good. She'll keep it concise. I'm was probably going to bring her off in different directions. And so we'll try to, kind of answer. We'll take all the questions at the end. But we might come back on here. I think, Velvet and I, we talked about this where we're going to do like a monthly thing. And because just looking at this, I'm like, oh, relationship with self is so, so important. Have so many triggers and so many programs that are laid in from childhood that are still playing. We have no idea what or why. It's just to us, it's just us. And we don't really look in the mirror closely and go, why do I do that? Sort of deal. So I'll try not to segue too much, guys, but we'll definitely, and if there's any part of the topic that we're not covering today that you would like us to expand into, feel free to reach out to me and we'll definitely hit that topic. So with that, Velvet, please take the floor and let's jump into this beautiful subject.
Awesome. I'm going to share my screen here because I do want everybody to be able to take screenshots when they want to take screenshots. And it really kind of helps those visual people as well. So we're going to do this together here. So as Wendy said, this is about transformational relationships. And we're going to use that concept of a buyer versus a seller and how we're developing these relationships with other people, but more importantly, how we're developing that relationship with ourselves. So Wendy, thank you again for seeing those posts and saying this is on spot. And I know that everybody is going to be able to take something away from this. So I really appreciate partnering with you. We make a really great team when it comes to personal development, spiritual development on top of that. So with that being said, we're going to dive into the 10X, and living your life in a 10X is easier than 2X. Now, the book has really got a lot of meaty information in it, but I'm only going to share one of the aspects that you'll be able to use starting today to start transforming your relationship with yourself and how you're doing business with other people. So all relationships, as Wendy said, is about ourselves. And as she also stated, sometimes we're doing things we don't even know why we're doing them. And some of the trauma that occurs, like if you were a child who was always told, don't be lazy, you can't sit down, what are you doing laying around? You have this idea that busyness now is better than taking a moment to relax. But studies are showing it's important to allow our children even to become bored, because that's where creativity comes, right? Take away their devices, take away the stimulation, and a child's mind will now just open up. So when we lack self-awareness, self-confidence, and self-respect, we're going to come off needy. We're going to come off desperate. We're going to lack boundaries and uncommitted. Now, I will have to admit, I've been guilty on several of these areas because I wanted people to like me. When I started business, the whole concept of, hey, don't mess with anybody in the community. Make sure you're nice in the community because they have a lot of clout and they can really destroy your business. So what happened is I lacked boundaries. I was letting people walk all over me until I learned the value that I brought to the city and to myself and to the community. Then these things do not bother me anymore. So it's not that you're always going to be needy or always desperate or always lacking back boundaries or uncommitted. It could be one or two or all of them for sure. But it is important to become aware of, like, why am I feeling that way? Mm-hmm. So self-confidence is definitely not the same thing as being self-centered. Many of us women are taught to diminish ourselves. We're told, hey, don't stand out. Don't take a presence. And if you come off self-confident, a lot of people think you're bossy. Well, maybe you're determined. Maybe you're passionate. Why are we using negative terms when it comes to women being confident? And it happens even to men. So when you're confident and you know what you want, there's always going to be mutual respect. There's healthy boundaries. And you know what you want. And you're willing to take the time to get what you want. It's not a rush kind of thing. You're willing to develop yourself. You're willing to develop the relationship. And there is always this compellingness. Like, it's always compelling. And compelling means, wow, I really resonate with that. I can work within that. So you're not bossing anybody. You're not pushing anybody around. You're having a mutual relationship with them. This all begins when we are in school. As soon as we start school, we create this idea in our mind of how we're measuring up to others. Now, when we first start kindergarten, it's not so bad. But when we move on, you'll see in a minute how that diminishes. When we're in kindergarten, we're just spicy. We're going. We're ready to have fun. You know, we tell our parents that are crying, put this on the bus, I got this. Bye. Get away from me. And we go off into this world. And this is where we begin to discover our abilities. We begin to see our own uniqueness for the very first time. For many, it's the first time that they've seen themselves unique outside of their family. Mm-hmm. And so they want to get out there and play. They want to get out there and have fun. But then something happens. We become teenagers. And just like that, we're alien to everyone. It's like we do not fit in. We want to fit in. We don't know if what we're saying is going to push somebody away or bring somebody. But here's something I want you to think about. And now go back into your high school time and think about the cheerleaders and think about the jocks and think about the leaders. Like I was a part of an ICSU club, which was a religious organization for our school. And those leaders knew what they wanted. They knew where they were going. A lot of the football players already knew what college they were going to. But the people who did not know themselves or didn't feel like that they could fit in, they wanted to do whatever they needed to do to make you feel proud of them. They wanted to do whatever it took to fit into the crowd, you might want to say. So there was a big difference when we get into high school. We can see the separation of those who knew what they wanted and those who were still trying to fit in and didn't know what they wanted. So this is where we're going to step into who's the buyer and the seller. So when you're thinking about the jock or the person who knows, yes, Wendy, go ahead.
So before we go into this slide, why don't you elaborate a little bit? We're not talking about you are the seller, the other person is the buyer. This is a specific mindset within the self, correct?
Yes, it's a mindset, and how that mindset comes off is going to be how you're communicating, not only with yourself and your desires, but then there's a mutual respect of the individual that you're having that other relationship with. Mm-hmm. Yeah, very good. Thank you for that. So when we're looking at a seller, you're focusing on what you think you need. Just like the people in the high school. Oh, I need to go into the drama club because all the popular kids are in the drama club. Or I need to join up with the cheerleading because that's how I'm going to get connected with the football players. So there was something inside of us that we really didn't know what we want. We just thought that we needed it. And this happens to all of us. At some point in your life, you're always either a seller or a buyer. What we're going to do here is to allow you to realize what is the difference between a buyer and why is it that when I go into buyer mode, well, I'll tell you what, I'll back up a second. Let's think about a vehicle. And let's say that you're getting ready to buy a new car. When you're getting ready to buy a car, you look at the things that you want for that car. The basic needs, the basic necessities of tire and steering are going to be, and what kind of gear shift you have, is going to be pretty standard. But when you begin to say, I want a new car, you say, well, what kind of car do I want? Not what kind of car do I need. What kind of car do I want? What features do I want in the car? And all of a sudden, you begin to start putting the puzzle piece. How often are we doing that with the business that we're doing? How often are we saying, what kind of client do I want? What kind of brand partner do I want? And I think this is where I am separated in a lot of ways from what the norm is, because I'm very selective. There's a particular group of people that I go towards because, for one, I relate very well with them. I'm in that field. But the other thing is that they tend to be leaders themselves. They tend to be self-starters. They tend to catch on really fast. So I don't have to do a lot of hand-holding. I don't have to usually do a lot of educating. I just have to present it to them and boom, they're taking off. That's the kind of team I want. So I'm a buyer that has established what do I want with my team. So with that being said, if you've got pad and pen in front of you right now, ask yourself, what kind of partner, because everybody that's underneath you is a partner, what kind of partner do I want in this business? And you don't have to think about it right now. I just want you to write it down so that as you continue to go on, that you really meditate on it and that you're not just going for everyone. You know, some people say, oh, well, this is a numbers game. Even though that may be true, meaning we need to contact people, it doesn't mean that we need to invite everybody, because everybody is going to be different. Align with the people that you want to align with. So with a seller, it's more about what you need, and a buyer is more about what you want. Now, there is an emotional attachment to a seller and a buyer when you think about the dynamics of it as a relationship with yourself. And we talked about some of those emotions. You tend to be needy. You'll sacrifice things as a seller, but as a buyer, you don't make a sacrifice. You work and get what you want while both sides are winning. There are no losers when both become buyers. And a buyer does not, a real good buyer, like when I'm a buyer now, I'm making that practice. I know what kind of partner I want. I want my partner to win as well. So I want him to also be a buyer. All right. So Wendy, do you have any questions regarding this one right here?
I did, and I think I lost it.
Back to you.
Yeah, if it comes back to me, it was really good, like a nice cliche point. Keep continue. This is awesome. So basically, though, you're what we're learning here is we want to be more in a buyer mode, right? So we learn what we want, so that we're not in so much that needy place, and we're just willing to sacrifice and settle and be desperate and take anyone or anything. Correct?
And I want to bring this up since Wendy has just brought this point up. When we become desperate and we sign up everyone and anyone, all of a sudden we can wind up having one person who just seems to need all of the attention all the time. And it doesn't allow you to nurture and to work with your other people as well, because they're now a seller. They really weren't a buyer. They didn't have that what's the win-win for both of us, right? And a seller oftentimes will feel that they have lost, that they rushed into it, right? And that's another reason I do not rush anybody into signing up with me. I want them on solid ground. I make sure that they feel confident in the choice that they are making, and it's something that they want, right? And I think with this, a lot of people say, oh, well, you need it because you're in pain. It's just, I love what Don says. And Don really helped me to transform my practice last year when he said, we're always giving people options. Mm-hmm. And when we give people options, it means that now they've become a buyer, just like buying a car. You have options in buying a car. You have options of whether you want this product or another product.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. This brings back to kind of like we're all programmed since, we first entered the work field. Our parents are like, make sure you got the resume all put up together, make sure you show up your really nice outfit, make sure you're very polite when you meet that boss, because you're trying to completely morph yourself and change yourself so this boss will hire you. And I've always raised my kids up, when you show up for a job, yes, you're providing a service for what they're looking for, but they're also, they're providing a check to you so that you have money, yes, but you're also providing a service for them. It's a two-way scenario. They don't have all the power. So it comes right down to, no, what I want is a job, and what you want is a person that's going to show up every day. It's a tu pro quo, relationship. And I think we got programmed at a young age, and we kind of kept it through when, especially, and that doesn't really necessarily is not profit. I don't say profitable, not in money ways, but in the more of the energetic way of having that same mindset when you're coming into an entrepreneur type business. So I can totally see where this is coming in. Yeah.
Again, you're bringing up that win-win scenario, right? There's two winners there. I get to have a job and do what I love, and then somebody gets to pay me for what I love to do. It's a very good win-win. So thank you for that. Sellers will always be willing to do things just to be accepted. So if you're working on a prospect and you're making commitments and promises that you can't keep, or you overshoot yourself by saying, oh, you've got to have this product because, you know, you could, in a day, you could feel amazing. Well, now you've set the stage of that they're expecting that as soon as they put on a patch, they're going to feel amazing, and maybe they don't, right? So we can't, don't be into that seller mode of giving the baby away at the front. Let them know, hey, I don't know what you're going to experience. That's going to be on you. I don't know what you have going on inside of you. And then you allow them to make a decision based on being a buyer, and they're going to be a better partner for you. Sellers also lack clarity. Now, let me clarify where this clarity is. And you might want to write these down so that you are assured within yourself that you never fall into this gap of lacking clarity. Know what you want. First of all, why are you in LifeWave? I can tell you why I'm in LifeWave. And many people make the goal, I want to be SPD. I don't care about being SPD. Now, based on what I want in this company will probably take me there, but my goal isn't to become SPD. My goal is to become one of the most influential people in LifeWave. Now, do you think that sets the stage a little bit different for me? Do you think that maybe some of my other goals and the clarity is going to come up to the top, rise up to the top? Now, some of you might be saying, yeah, but I have this clarity. I want to do this too, but I've got to do X, Y, and Z. Well, when you become very clear, like being an influential person in LifeWave, you're going to have these areas of like, well, what does that look like? Who do I become to become this influencer? Well, it means I have to start presenting, it means I have to start speaking, it means that I have to kind of be there when people ask or need information, but I also have good boundaries. It's not all the time. I'm not the all being. A good influencer knows that they are not the supply for everyone. Okay. So when you're sitting there thinking about your clarity of why you're in LifeWave, you're going to get really clear on the kind of partner you're wanting, what kind of customer you're wanting, right? Because you also have preferred customers. And what is going to be the mutual value of the exchange? That's got to be in there as well. You have to have that clarity of what is that mutual exchange going to be. So a seller will also have, they'll be uncommitted to standards. And if you're going to be an influential person, you have to become that person before you become that person. And that means you have a set committed standards that you know that you're going to have to do. Like every morning, I know I need to get up anywhere between 5:30. I need to read. I need to journal. I need to meditate. And I get all of those things first. Some people aren't willing to do that, but that's my standard. The other standard is I work out every single week. How many times? It doesn't matter. I put it in within my schedule. My other standard is I have 3 set days where I communicate with new people. I'm always communicating and contacting new people. My other standard is 2 days have to be set for creative days. This means I can do PowerPoints, I can write posts, and I keep it structured. So my standard is an influential person has structure. So I'm giving this to you as an example. I'm not saying that you want to be an influential person in LifeWave, but you're here for a reason. And if you don't know what that reason is, you can fall into the gap of becoming a seller very, very easily. And a seller will also lower or change their standards to get the sale. I never, ever do this. If it looks like a prospect is becoming too difficult, wanting all these free patches, and oh, well, I never buy anything unless I get to try it. Great. Go on my website. You can try it for a month. And if you don't like it, you can have your money back. But I'm not going to sit there and listen, folks, this is true. I actually had somebody call me up and say, would you be willing to give me 3 months of these patches free to try? 3 months? Well, I don't even do that for a month. And you're lucky if you get one patch from me. I'm not a person that goes out and gives a bunch of patches either. But I do presentations. I'll do demos. Okay, so Wendy, I think you had a thought.
I did. So going back to or committed to standards, so guys, when you create the energy within yourself of I'm important, my health is important, I'm going to eat, I know a lot of people like, oh my gosh, I'm lucky if I get a meal in a day because I'm going crazy. Well, that's not very healthy, right? When you're committed to your health and you're committed to abundance in your life, and whether that be physical abundance, mental abundance, emotional abundance, right? That just like Velvet went and stated, working out, meditating, writing the journal. I don't know if you guys ever listened to David Schmidt. He says exactly those same things. That's how he starts his morning every morning too. Not to say you have to do that, but I'm saying when you establish this within yourself of I am worth it, you are going to vibrate out worth as well. And you're going to attract those people like Velvet said earlier, who are going to have that respect for you, who are going to look at you, have a worthy product that I want to look into because I honor you, because I can already feel that you honor yourself. So I'm going to honor this relationship, and you're going to attract those same people. So it is very important. I thank you for sharing that, Velvet. I really appreciate that.
Well, I love that because really they want to do business with you. They beg to do business with you. They'll tell you if they can't at that time, hey, please don't give up on me. I really want to do this, right? Don't give up on me. So that's important. Yeah, I forgot that David does say that. He does do those things. They are important. But the other thing is that a lot of us get into this mindset is that as soon as we wake up, we have to be busy, 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 busy doing this. And you never allow your mind to be creative. You never allow your body to just take a moment and take a break. So you've got to do that for yourself. All right, so buyers. Buyers are always learning. You guys are all here today because you're learning. You're buyers. And you're creating those standards every single day. Your standards will change as your standards become more aware to you. Right? Those are going to change. You're always upgrading. And if you think about it, that's why our patches have to keep upgrading, because we keep upgrading. So, now we have an X39 that's taking our consciousness way up. And we have an X49 on top of that that's now building a shield around us. I can only imagine what the X59 is going to do. So a buyer also has bigger plans for the future. They're not afraid of bigger plans, right? They're not afraid to jump in and say, I can do this. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I know I'm going to do it. Everything's going to fall into place. The right people are going to be there. I'm going to share something with you that I do on a regular basis, and it works every single time, folks. Where is all this money coming from? Like, I say that even before going to my back office, before opening up any of my bank accounts, I always say every day, wow, it's one of my gratitude statements. Where is all this money coming from? And I learned how to do that when I had a massage practice. And I've got all these people. I don't even know where they're coming from. I only live in a town with 8,000 people. And it was like 10,000 people were seeing me every day. And I would say to my staff, where are all these people coming from? And my assistant said to me one day, and she said, Dr. Velvet, when are you going to learn to stop saying that? That's why they're here.
Yeah, it's really funny because I love this. Velvet and I work this way together because I was just thinking prior to you talking, because one of the talks I want to bring up next month is why am I consistently attracting a lack of mentality minded people that don't have the money? And I'm like, I need to talk about that. And then here you turn around and go, what I would, how much better can it get? I'm attracting abundance and people are flocking to me. So, yep, guys, we'll be on here next month with that very topic.
That's great. Great minds think alike. And buyers are courageous. They are simply courageous. And that doesn't mean that they don't have doubts. It doesn't mean that they don't have that fear, excitement. What it is that they know that that fear is what's going to hold them back, and that courage is what's going to move them forward. So if you're always operating out of fear, you're not going to get anywhere really fast. You're always going to be having those doubts. And you're always going to doubt yourself first, and then you're going to doubt others, because again, it's just a projection. So have the courage to step out in front, because you know why? You're unique. You are a defined, individualized expression of source that is waiting to experience the life that was designed by you and for you. And if you can get that in your mind, nothing can stop you from being courageous. All right. And buyers love being in relationships with people who are always committed. I will tell you, I am a buyer through and through, because when people are wishy-washy, I don't resonate with that. And if you can't be clear in what you're wanting, I can't resonate with that either. I just want you to tell me what you want. Not that I'm going to get it for you, but so that I know where we are on the tone scale and on a conscious level in working together. Because if you want something totally different than me, there's no reason for us to put that together, because that's a seller point, right? That would be a seller compromising on that. Now, mind you, when you're in this commitment too, this doesn't mean that everybody wants the same thing. I'm not saying that. It's not that we want the same things. It's that those different things that we want work together very well, and they'll meld very well. So I want you to think about some things. Are you a buyer or a seller? Just right now, just think about it and put it down. Are you a buyer or are you a seller? My sister, years and years ago, she said, Velvet can sell ice to an Eskimo. And when she said it, I thought, well, I would never do that, first of all. But years later, I realized it was because I was confident and I knew what I wanted. I was more of the buyer. So it wasn't that I was selling anything. I was showing, hey, we've got a mutual thing going on here. So this is going to be very, very important to all of you. What is your unique ability? Wendy has this, I'm telling you, it gives me goosebumps sometimes to know that I found somebody that's like Wendy. And you guys should be really, really happy that she's on your team, and rooting for you. But she's got this unique ability to see outside of what's going on. She has a unique ability to sense an awareness that goes beyond the physical sense. And that makes a very good companion to have, because now they're able to see beyond what you are thinking or projecting, so that she can now pull out that good in you. She knows you're good. That's what's unique about Wendy's abilities that she has, and her ability to communicate. So one of my unique abilities is communication, and I would have never thought that, because I had dyslexia of the tongue. I had a speech impediment. And my teachers worked with me in having me repeating things over and over again. And they would always put me in charge of teaching the class. And for the longest time, I thought, why do my teachers keep asking me to be in charge? Well, they saw an ability within me that needed to be nurtured for me to be where I am today. And I'll never forget my speech class, because I'm like, and in such and such day, and my teacher stopped and she said, Velvet, I want you to say it like it's from your belly, and that everybody in the back of the room needs it. I don't need a mic when I go anywhere because now I have that confidence. And I remember when the shift happened, it was just like that. I felt that energy come up from my solar plexus and come out my throat, and she was blown away. And that has never changed for me. So that's what was really good in drama too, because you know you have to project your voice. You didn't have a microphone. So you need to write down what your unique ability is. And kindness is going to be a part of that automatically, because some of you might think kindness is a unique ability, but it'd be a character. Yes, Wendy.
I would like to point out a few things, guys, that are from the book that Velvet shared with me earlier. And one of the things it said, the only way to be indispensable is to be different. You can train yourself to matter. You are not your resume. You are your work. And that was from Seth Godin. And just to continue, and then if you want to add comments afterwards, which it is not about doing or being better than anyone else. That's a big one. I've had a lot of people reach out and go, but I'm not Dr. Stacy. No, you're not. Thank goodness. You are uniquely you. And let me continue. It's not about doing or being better than anyone else. Rather, it's being increasingly unique and different from what everyone else is doing. Your work is innovative and distinct from what the masses of the 2Xers are up to. Now, I'm going to pull in the 2Xers for the 10Xers. You heard that saying, which is think smarter versus working harder. That's where that comes in. So go for it. What's your comment on that? Because I thought that was a very good tie-in with it. You know, it's important to figure out your uniqueness. Yes.
Right. Exactly. It is. And the other thing is that when you bring that up, you're going to now see the 2Xers, because they're going to say, oh no, you can't do that. We do it this way. There's a system. We got to stay within the system. No, we don't. Right? Because there can never be any duplication of you. There can be no replication of you. You're going to take your unique abilities and make them your own. And so right. I love that, because there are a lot of, you know, sometimes you can get into that group of people that really kind of want to shut you down because you're scaring them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And also in the book, and guys, I really want to make this clear, because I know that, you know, Marcy has unique systems. We're not talking about necessarily that at all. As when someone has a sense of purpose and they're doing what they're meant to do, they have a feeling of well-being and happiness, as well as a greater career success than those who have viewed their work as a job. Are you viewing LifeWave as a job? Let me continue. Or a career. Individuals who have a calling are more likely to ignore career advice. They ultimately listen to their inner voice and they make their own decision. In other words, if I told you, you have to call people, this is exactly how you have to, what you need to say. Yes, we do have scripts, but we always say, put it in your own voice. If I put it in the voice of a medical professional, you know, a doctor, I'm not a doctor. I would be dishonoring myself to come out with medical jargon that I can't back up and explain it, right? I need to come from my heart and share who I am and speak those words from my mind and my experiences. That's what we're speaking of. We're not necessarily speaking of, you know, the systems that are in Evolve. It's you individually, how you are to portray yourself when it comes to having the buyer mindset.
Exactly. That's exactly right. And, you know, when you do that, Wendy, when you're speaking from your own heart, they're going to feel that genuine and that integrity, and they're going to just line right up. You're absolutely right. So the rest of them, we're going to kind of go through real quick so that we can make sure that we get through the rest of this and the questions that you guys might have to go deeper. You need to really be thinking about what your 10X jump is that excites you the most. Like, does SPD really excite you? It doesn't excite me. I don't get excited when people say, hey, you want to be SPD? No, not really. What excites me is having a team of amazing influencers working with me. That's what excites me, right? And I do want to be known for that as being the biggest influencer in LifeWave, along with many others that are going to want the same thing. I'm not saying I'm going to be the only one. I'm saying that's where my standard is. And will SPD probably come with that? Yeah, but it's not it doesn't excite me. So which requires you to go all in your unique ability to realize what's the 80% of your life keeping you busy. And this is where it's transformed my life, guys. I realize that anything that we are doing that we're having to think about or come up with is nothing but busy work. It's nothing but busy work. As soon as we're doing something unconsciously, that's a new habit that's been established. We do it, we get it done, and we feel fulfilled. And we're not feeling like we have to fill up our day with unproductive activities just to say that we are, oh my gosh, I'm so busy. I had this client that used to tell me all the time, oh, I have to take the kids to the ballpark and I have to do this and I have to do that. And I'm so stressed all the time. And I asked her, I said, why do you do all of that? I just asked her, why do you do all that? Her identity was attached to being a supermom.
Yeah.
So be careful when you're in this business of how you're setting yourself up. Some additional questions to ask yourself is, do you find yourself being desperate when sharing with others? Dawn has done a great job at talking about this. I know Marcy has done a great job, and Peter, Wendy, all of them have done a good job. So I don't think that any of you would have a problem with this, but this is where you're throwing up on people, right? I remember Stacy saying that on stage. Do you feel pressured to perform like someone else or be like someone else? Like Wendy said here just a minute ago, you're not Dr. Stacy. You're not Dr. Velvet. You're not Wendy. You're you. And we love you for who you are, right? And then do you respect yourself enough to do it your way? And my team will tell you I'm that edge starter, right? My team will tell you, oh, Velvet's like a loose cannon. She's going to go out there, guns a-blazing, doing it her way. Have I learned? Yes, I've learned along the way, but I've had fun along the way as well. So yeah, we're going to keep going on it. So the last thing I want to bring up before we talk about the questions or anything going deeper, Wendy and I had discussed this earlier on about the long-lasting effects of trauma. If you guys want to join me Thursday, it's on Facebook. It's here. You're welcome. It's going to be one of the presentations. It's really going to be like a fireside chat with Tiffany Joy, who survived trafficking, and she now helps other women who have been trafficked. She actually has a home. She helps to recondition them so that they can get out there and go back to work. She has worn the patches for me as a study and has had amazing results, which we will be sharing during the fireside chat Thursday night at 7 o'clock. All right, so I'm going to stop my share because I think I'm done with all of those slides.
Hey, leave that. Can you pull that last slide up for a minute?
Yeah, absolutely. There you go. Can you see it?
Not yet.
Can't see it
because
I didn't share it. It's like I popped it up for me, but not for you.
So that was
all right, can you guys see it?
yeah. I'm trying to put it in chat. Here we go. All right. So guys, this is a different Zoom number. This is Velvet's personal Zoom number. So January.
And it's at 7 o'clock.
And that's Central Time, correct?
Yes.
Try to be helpful if I could type here at 7 p.m. Central.
So that'll be 5 o'clock for you Californians. And then for you East Coast people, that'll be 8 o'clock.
Zoom number is 966.
996.
No, I apologize. Did I do that right? No, I did not.
I can read it to you. 996 983 4549.
Okay, there it is in the chat, guys. And yeah, so this is private. So will you be sharing that, Velvet, in the Evolve team by any chance? The information on Thursday?
I'd like to. Yeah, if I have permission to share that, I'd love to.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I would say just put it up there. You know, it's because she is using the patches, and I'm sure she's going to share a little bit about that as well.
Yeah.
But very, very good story. I think this is really awesome. Is that recorded? Will your particular thing on Thursday be recorded, Velvet?
Yes, it will be. And I'll post it on the Evolve team too.
Right. Yeah, Jen. So don't worry, it will be recorded. Okay. Alrighty. So there we go. All right. So I'm just going to go ahead and pop into the rest of my notes just to kind of recap. So always be the buyer mindset. Being the buyer means that you have clear standards of yourself and you know what you want. The opposite of being a seller, where you're desperate to be in a particular situation because you think you need it. If you are the seller, if you are in the seller standpoint, you will be continually lowering your standards just in order to get the sale. I always tell all my downline, you know what, like if they call me up and go, Wendy, I need you to talk to somebody, man, they're really in their ego, or they're really a narcissist, or, they really act like they know everything. I'm like, you know what, give them the information and give them your website and God bless them. We're not here to force the information into their brain. If somebody's brain is closed, those doors are closed. You wait till they open. If they're open, they'll find you. And so, yes, and also, as I always tell somebody, if you find out that they're rubbing you the wrong way, then by all means, again, God bless them. Here's my website. If you want to sign on, go for it. But don't sit there and work with them to try to convince them to be your brand partner, because you have to work with them for the rest of the however long they stay with it, theoretically, for a long time.
That's right.
Yeah. I mean, I know in the beginning I was desperate, right? And I said, I will go and sign up your people. I will call them up. I will go ahead and manage your back office. I will go ahead and do all that stuff for you. And thank God they never signed up. But I do know other people that are doing it for doctors. And they're like, dear Lord, I'm exhausted working their business. So
that's a good point. Yeah. And I have doctors on my team too. I expect my doctors to be smart enough to have the staff they need to do it. Now, will I do the training, and do I provide them a website to go to in case they need a refresher? Absolutely. But that's the extent of it. They need to take responsibility. But the other thing that you said is that when you move out of that needful place and you're not begging anybody to sign up with you now you have people who want to help you. And that's what I love about my team. Dr. Velvet, how can we help you? And not a lot of teams get that. They want you to be successful because they know that by you being successful, they're successful. And they're so appreciative. They're so grateful for you because there's a win-win in that. Yep. So you always need to know that a relationship is transformative when neither party feels they are losing.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful.
And that also means losing your soul, folks.
So I love it, Susan, that you brought that up. I'm completely in 100%, thought form there. If you're constantly giving somebody fish, they always come to you for the fish. You have to teach them how to fish so they'll go out and spread and you'll be able to fish for themselves. That concept, yes. But even let's extrapolate even more so into this particular business. I'm not here to sign on a person. No, I'm here to share this technology with millions of people, right? This world, we can all say, is a lot of it's dying off, which is good. We want it to die off. But in that process, a lot of people are getting pulled under with that, like trying to take a big wave in, and instead of catching a wave, they get tumbled. And they're getting tumbled with pain and with lack of sleep and no energy and confusion and dis-ease within the body. And we all know that this technology can help their body so their stem cells turn on, so the stem cells can repair, regenerate, and replace those damaged cells. That's my purpose, right? I know I'm here to help thousands, millions of people just like Velvet. So again, we're not here to find that one person. We're here to find, yes, a person that is willing to share with another person and another person and another person. Play it forward till you get to that million or beyond. Absolutely. Thank you, Susan, for bringing up that point. Does anybody have any questions? If so, please either raise your hand or just unmute yourself. It's easy to raise your hand, but if you don't know how, just unmute yourself. So I thoroughly, and just go ahead and do so. I'm just going to keep on talking until somebody says something. So thank you, Velvet, though. This was even better than I thought it would be. And guys, this topic, as you can see in many different directions, can get a little deeper. Jody, go ahead with your question.
Now she's unmuted, but I can't hear her.
Yeah, we can't hear you, Jody. I don't know where you are. I just see you unmuted. Okay. Well, hopefully you'll find a way to get on. Or just type your question in the chat. We can also do that, love. Okay, I'll just mute her back up there.
I think we're going to hear her.
Yeah. So while we've got this moment, so I would love, Velvet, if you and I get together, I want to talk about mindset. You know, I was just on a phone call with somebody who's going to be on the Patching podcast on Friday. And she was just like, well, no one's got this money. I don't have much money for this product anyway. And if you have that mindset, I don't have that much money, then you're going to attract everybody who doesn't have that much money either. And you want to expand that mindset. So, Velvet, I would love for you to join me next month. Let's dive deep into that puppy.
Yeah, I love that because with our team, we did one that's called whether you're living in a growth mindset or a closed mindset. So I think that would be awesome to feed off of this one too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Jody, do you want to see if you can unmute now?
Yeah, it's because I didn't have my headset in. Sorry about that. I was a little late and you were quoting from a book, I think. Is that right? What was the name of the book?
So it's 10x is easier than
Oh, I love that. Okay. You guys are so awesome. I just love you so much. You're so good. And I try not to miss this. And I was late today, so always great stuff. And Velvet, I'm gonna meet you someday because I'm close to you. So I want to just study at the feet of the master. So
And you are a master as well. So
I know I am, and I have a unique ability. I loved everything you said today. It was really awesome. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah. All right. So if anybody else wants to say anything or have a question, feel free to unmute yourself. So, you know, I've had a lot of people, and I'm sure you have too, Velvet. And if you can think of any examples who come up and go, but you know, I do this and this and this. How am I going to go ahead and extrapolate, you know, sharing this technology of activating your stem cells into what I do? And I would say personally to them is, well, what do you do? And are you sure you feel very sound? Because internally, guys, everybody should, I hate the word should, I hate should and should nots, but you know, your focus needs to be on your health, your physical, mental, emotional health. And so that's where you can bring everything down. What would you say to somebody if they did say that though?
Well, so I want to feed off of what you just said a little bit ago about taking care of yourself first. And I learned a long time ago that as I meditated, that if I just focused and released, and you get this like a feeling to where you're not here, you're teletransported, then you start seeing people come into your mind. Like I used to meditate in my office, and I would literally hear the door open and see a customer come through, but I was still in meditation. But then by the end of the day, that's exactly what was happening over and over and over again. So the reason that we need to be still and quiet is so that we can see what we want, right? We want that, and we imagine it in our mind just coming. And so that has to be a priority for us to be able to accept, because a lot of people don't accept prosperity. They don't accept success. So we've got to get really real with ourselves. The other thing is to make a list every day of only 3 things that you're going to do. Only 3 things that you want to accomplish through that day. You set those as your priority. Once you're done with those, you are done with them. The seller's always going to try to feel like they're not doing enough, that they're going to have to call one more person, or I need to be on the phone all night to call a person, right? Yeah.
Absolutely. So I'm going to back up a little bit with the chat. We've got someone in here said, hang on, get up there. Okay, Heidi said, can you please briefly explain the 10x as easier than the 12x, the 2x? Is that just like busy work?
Yeah, so the concept in the 10X is 2X is that you're really taking your creative mind and you're focused on things that are productive. So it's kind of like I say that you move into yourself and there's this movement. It's like you're not just doing busy work, you're doing things that are accomplishing uh, productivity. And you're moving in your unique ability, your integrity, you're in full integrity. So a lot of people always say, oh, Dr. Velvet, I could never do what you're doing. You seem busy all the time. But people don't realize is that that is only because that's my productivity work. I spend a lot of time being creative because I focus on productivity. So that means I get that productivity done and then I can move into creativity. And so I'm not moving papers around just to be moving papers around. So the concept of 10X is that you're increasing your life. You're going to be taking risks. You're going to have those challenges, but you're not focusing on the other 80% of your life that's just mundane, busy work. You're going to find out who and not how. So that's another thing that the book will talk about. Maybe, Wendy, that'll be a good conversation for us to have sometime too, is because when you move in that to that productivity, like Wendy can't, what would it be like for you guys if every week Wendy was the only one presenting? Now you love her, but after a while, she might run out of things to say and you might get tired of hearing her say them. But what she does is she found her who's to help bring this awareness to you. So she's not doing all the work. She's got her who's that are helping her with the work. And that's what you've got to figure out. And one of the biggest examples that I've given people in the past, and I'll give it here, is that if it costs me $100 to have my house cleaned, that takes 5 hours for the person to clean, and I'm making $150 an hour, it makes absolutely no sense for me to clean my own house. So you got to look in those areas where you're doing stuff that somebody else could be doing. Here's a big takeaway too. A lot of that stuff you're having to do, like cleaning your house and picking up, is because you're not doing it in the moment. So when you have something and you put it away, guess what? You don't have to worry about spending time now going back and cleaning your kitchen. I was raised that way. I was raised military. That meant that when you got up out of your bed, you made your bed right then and there. Your clothes went into the hamper. Your clothes got hung up. When you were in the kitchen, your stuff went into the dishwasher and everything was wiped up. You would never tell that I entered a room because that was how I was raised. So all of that extra busy stuff, take time to think about how you can organize your life to make things simpler and easier so that now you can focus on the 20% that's going to bring greater success.
Yeah. So if I recall correctly, Velvet, that you're not finished with the book, this particular book, correct?
I've actually finished it now. So
oh, you did? Okay.
I still apply everything. Like I still go back to it and I'm continuing to apply. I'm continuing to teach.
Right. So there is more to that book than just to kind of recapitulate for you, Heidi, that it's better to be in the buyer's mind versus the seller mindset mind. Buyer mindset is that of want. And again, acknowledging yourself, acknowledging what you feel you need versus putting somebody else first and willing to sacrifice anything just to have that conversation or to get them to buy the product. We're not, and that is the buyer mindset versus the seller mindset. So I presume the book pulling out that little piece of nugget of the buyer and the seller mindset. Is that just one aspect of this book, pretty basically?
It's one aspect. The other aspect is like the gap. And so we need to really talk about that sometime. Yeah. The other aspect is the who, not how. That's another wonderful area. Yeah. So it's a gold mine.
That is beautiful. Maybe guys, we'll take the next topic week after next. Anybody else would like to say anything or ask any questions? You know, I always, another topic, and we should just write these down. We got so many topics to talk about. Another topic is, you know, we are taught within this particular society, this world currently that we're in, is the external environment creates us. The external environment tells us who we are, how we should behave, how we should react, who we should be. And that is, in essence, that's a seller mindset, right? And so that's why we're always in need and constantly chasing from one thing to other. And that's craziness. But basically, if you back up, guys, and you go within yourself, you know, this is what Velvet's been talking about all day today. Go within. Who are you? What do I want? Who am I? You know, am I choosing to take care of me, or am I choosing to take care of my list? You know, and I understand that some people are like, no, but you understand, I need the money. I get it, but that money's going to come a lot slower if you're not taking care of you and choosing you first. So that's just a little tidbit, and that could be another deep topic right there.
And you know, he says too in the book that when, you know what, it just went away. You were there, and it was like, wait a minute, that fluttered right out of my mind, but it was important. It'll come back.
So Pabaka, I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. You said deeply grateful for who you both be. I like that. Be, guys, being versus doing. Doing is just like busy work. Being is with consciousness, with choice, with what's the word I'm looking for, Velvet? You're expressing yourself. That's not the word I'm looking at. I'm investing myself when I am being. If I'm just doing, it's just kind of like, oh, you know, chop wood, carry water, wash glass, bring to, you know, put it away. That's doing crap. That's you could do it with not even thinking and with your sleep. But when you're coming with intention, that's the difference. Yeah. You're in yourself, you know what you want, and with that, you're coming through its intention of what you want to be. I like that. Thank you for making that wonderful thing. So Anne says, thank you very much. Sharon says mindfulness. Yes, 100%. Okay, you got the name of the book. Great. All right. Well, if I'm going to give it for like one more minute, if somebody wants to unmute themselves and say something, please do so. Other than that, we're probably going to try to wrap this up. Next Tuesday, we're going to have good old Leah Stansley back on again, because she was the only expert I really could right off the bat think of. We're going to talk about, why is exercise so dang important? A lot of people say that's the E word. That's a dirty word. Shh. Right? But exercise is extremely important for the body. The body was not meant to sit and still and not do anything all day. I can attest, I will admit and be completely transparent, I don't exercise right now. But a lot of you know what has gone on in my life last year. And I literally was moving my house, packing my house, unpacking my house, putting everything is gone, packing up my mother's apartment. I was moving nonstop, carrying, tens to 20 boxes, 30 pounds each a day, 14,000 steps. And I'll tell you guys, I normally have always kept some sort of pain in my body or whatnot. I had zero pain. I had loads of energy. My mind was sharp as a tack. And I was thinking, I was like, why am I not thinking sharp as a tack? Why am I talking like Yoda? I know what you mean when it comes to talking. I do the same thing. And I realized, and my spirit goes, because you were moving, your body loves exercise. So we're going to talk a lot about exercise through Leah. She's an exercise coach. She also has led many different other classes in her lifetime. So she's going to come on. We're both going to have that topic next week.
I think that's great. And David Schmidt at the convention talked about that when we're lifting weights, that we're activating our stem cells within the pressure, like when we're doing leg presses. So all the more reason to do those leg presses, women, not just for the butt, but for the stem cells.
Exactly. And for those women out there that would like to show up the men, biologically, we have stronger lower body than the men do. So if you do your squats and your leg lifts, you're going to end up being stronger than they are. All right. So I guess everybody's really happy and all their questions are answered. So thank you so much, Bella, for coming on here. As always, love you very much. And guys, yes, I am going to have her on here at least once a month. So we can go into these deeper topics of personal development, energy, spirituality, and how bringing that all into alignment, why and how that means makes such a big difference in our life. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. I love you all.
All right, guys, have yourself a great day. Signing off.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.